Hey, this is a full blown tutorial of Orange Slice and how to use Orange Slice. So to hop right into it, this is the home screen. We're at orangeslice.ai, and we get started by clicking the top right here. We can choose Google account, and we'll sign in here. And then we have two views here. We have our workspace and our personal view. So make sure if you're working with a team, you're connecting to a workspace here. And if you're the workspace owner, you can manage your members here. So you can invite members, etc. You can also see your workspace settings here as well. So I'm going to go to the personal view just to show you how I personally use Orange Slice and to walk you through the dashboard really quickly. So here in the top left, we have all the spreadsheets shared with me. So if anyone shares a spreadsheet with me, I can access it through here. We have all our common templates here of how people are using Orange Slice. We have trash too. If we discard any sheets, we can discard sheets by looking at the home page here, and we can move them around to an organization, or I can delete them. So I can move to an organization. And then also on this left side here, we have integrations. So you can connect your CRM, your outbound tool, and your Slack as well. You can also add any custom key. So you can add keys like inbox, hit zero bounce, phantom buster, anything you want. Website visitors can connect any tool to Orange Slice, and Orange Slice agent can use it as well. We also have skills. So basically any context for the agent for how you like to do GTM. So personally, I have an email writing skill. I don't like how the AI models write emails, so I gave them some feedback in a specific way that I like to write emails. And also some context on my company, so I don't have to keep typing it out every time. We also have API keys. So if you prefer to use Claude Code or any other agent interface, you can connect an API key to that interface, and they can use Orange Slice and all the internal tooling as well. And then lastly, we can check out our usage, how many runs and how many credits we're spending a day. We also can look at our credits, and this is the pricing page, so we can set credit overages. So if I only want to spend an additional $5 a month if I run out of credits, we can set an overage, so we get an extra 10,000 if we run out here. We can also customize our plan and just buy more credits as needed. There's no difference in the plans. All the features have, other than a difference between credit costs, all the plans have access to the same features. So if we go to home here and look at our first spreadsheet here, what I'll actually do is I'll create a spreadsheet. So if I click create a spreadsheet in the top right here, I'll get this nice chat interface. And so there's a couple actions I can do. I can, build a recurring agent. If I want to build an agent, I can start a chat, or I could connect it to Claude Code. So I'm just going to start a chat here. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it runs. So let me grab, let me take a previous sheet like this one. And I believe I looked for this prompt. I'll just throw this exact same prompt in a new sheet so you can see how it runs, how it fills out. So we can actually improve the prompt with AI here. Sure, I'm gonna improve the prompt just because I'm curious. But now it'll kind of create a beefy prompt. So create a new sheet to identify and qualify high growth US based companies that meet three specific criteria. They must have raised funding in the last 24 months, double their headcount in the last 12 months, and currently have at least 25 employees. Each company, we want to collect the following data points in a separate column: company, LinkedIn, HQ, current headcount, and headcount 12 months ago. All the stuff looks great. Follow a strict search then verify process. So find the people and then match them. All of this looks great. But this is exactly, I can keep improving the prompt, but I think I'm going to stop here. This looks great. And also in the prompt, I can add any tooling I want. So if I want to use, revenue data from ZoomInfo, I can click it here and it'll force the chat to use that data source. I'm going to let the chat find out data sources through here, but also don't need to start from a chat as well. So I can import Excel, HubSpot documents, data from an API or a webhook as well. But let's just start with here just to get started. can also see the templates down here as well. So now you can kind of see the agent thinking and building out the spreadsheet in real time. So it decides I'm going to use Crunchbase for funding data and all these sort of things. This looks great. I'm going to let that run in the meantime. For demonstration purposes, I have that exact sheet filled out. So we can actually take a look at the end result and what that looks like. So here we can actually take a look at all of our spreadsheets if we want to change to a different spreadsheet really quickly. So we can still see this is running. We can create a new spreadsheet too in the top left here. Then also we can see our toolbox in the right side. So all those integrations like our Slack, our Instantly, or anything else, or any custom API keys, we can add through here as well. And we can see I want to only add this to this spreadsheet. And how that looks like to connect an integration is you will basically click an integration here. Let's say, I want to connect my HubSpot to this account. It'll pull me to the HubSpot page, and then I follow, this sort of workflow. And this should work. I want to connect it to Orange Slice. And now I successfully connected the app. We'll go back to the toolbox. And you can see we have the HubSpot already connected here with the Slack connected as well. And so we can do this for basically any sort of tool we have. And then we can also have the agent access that tool. So an example, we can also see our skills here if we want to enable them or disable them. I want them to have, so let's say, context on Orange Slice or company. So I'm going to enable that skill. But this is just a super high level of everything the platform can do. So this is the whole toolbox section. We also have triggers. So if we want to set up any recurring workflows that run off webhooks, we can set them up through here. But we'll ask the chat to mostly create all of our triggers, and we can take a look at all of them as well. So it seems like in this run, let's actually see if this other run finished. So it's running, it is pulling data, and you can see you got the company name, domain, Crunchbase, LinkedIn, and it's going to fill in all of these columns slowly but surely. For demonstration purposes, let's run through the other sheet here. And so we can see it pulled all of these people and the decision makers. So it pulled all of these companies here that had 2x headcount. LinkedIn qualified them and found their decision makers for the companies that have a 2x headcount and they got qualified. So another key aspect of the platform here are these columns, these enrichment columns with the lightning bolt. And we can kind of see what each column does by clicking on them. So it costs Zerg credits to run this column. We basically extract the 12-month growth rate from the LinkedIn enrichment column. So you can see in the LinkedIn enrichment column, it only costs us 1 credit per row to enrich a company data from LinkedIn. And we can see that a lot of these columns, exactly how they're written. So it checks if the LinkedIn enrichment data shows at least 100% headcount growth in the past 12 months. It returns true if company has doubled its employees. We can also edit this column and say, hey, I want to return true if the company has a growth ratio of 1.5 or higher. We can change things like that. And so it'll create a new chat and the agent will go ahead and modify that and we can keep working. But we can see how it's qualifying companies and then edit that through the same aspect. We can run individual cells by clicking the run cell button here. We'll run a cell here. We can run whole rows by clicking the run column button here. And then we can also run whole sheets by clicking this button, run column in this forward here. And so we found some decision makers, and it only found the decision makers for people that are both true, for they qualify. And we can even run a decision maker for a cell that's false. So you can kind of see what it looks like when it runs. It'll show a generating icon and it'll find some data. And in this case, it has logic already built in the chat already created the logic for us of skips unqualified rows. So if we want to change that, we can edit the column again, and that's kind of how we operate in the sheet. So it should have modified this column here. Perfect. And it now changed the 2x headcount to 1.5 times or greater. And that's kind of how we edit and work through columns and worksheets. So we can see it created a new decision maker column in the top right here, and it's sorted by company size automatically. We can add filters or remove filters all through the chat. The chat has access to all the UI. It can do everything we can do as well. So we can take a look here and we see, okay, now we have some great people. I want to find email and phone number. So I can type that in the chat right there, and it'll find email and phone number for all these people. A more manual view, if you want to get it more granular, is we can click add a column on the right here, and we can tell it here if you only want one column, saying I want phone numbers, right? And it'll use any data sources it thinks it needs. If you want to choose the data sources, you can click the tool icon here and force the data sources to use. So type in phone number, find an email and phone number, and this is just our internal waterfall. If you don't see a company logo, that means it's something we built internally to do this scraping. And then if you see a company logo, we are just using that company's API and data. So you can see a lot of the suggested. Our custom APIs are free, so feel free to make a fetch request from that custom API endpoint if you connect the data tool. And quick reminder, you just connect the data tool through the API key integration over here. But that's exactly how you create more columns here. And let's say, oops, let me click out of there. Now, the other key things to go over are importing and exporting data. So we can import data through CSV, HubSpot, Excel, API webhook here. Let's say I want to import data from HubSpot. I can choose all of these different fields for the specific type of data I want to import. I can also pull data from the chat. So let's say I want to push all these decision makers and funded companies to HubSpot. And so now, perfect. It even has a suggested follow-up here. Sync all companies that meet the 1.5x growth criteria to HubSpot. Let's just do that. This is perfect. We can improve the prompt again here, but I think this is great. And oops. That will run. We can also export data as a CSV or Excel, or get a custom API to send the data to other platforms as well. And then we can also share the sheet. Like I mentioned at the start, this is a way you can share sheets between teams and work together. So I enter the email address and give them the ownership responsibility they want. And for example, if I at Kishan at Orange Slice AI and I want him to be an editor, I can send an invite like that. I can also, anyone with the link can access this. So I can copy this link and then, open a new link in a new tab, and it'll bring me right back to the sheet. So we can share it through that aspect as well. We have the Slack icon on the top if you want to join our Slack. And you can also take a look at credits and adding more credits in the top right here as well. So now we can see, create a new column here called HubSpot Sync. It uses a couple of HubSpot tools here, and it syncs data, and it skips rows where our headcount requirement isn't met. And we'll add those columns to HubSpot. So if I want to use any tool like Instantly or HubSpot, all I have to say is, add this to an Instantly campaign, or create a new campaign, or, create a new deal for each one of these clients. And the agent will create a code or a column where it does all of those actions. So it's really powerful with APIs. We don't have to click through drop-down menus or anything like that. And so now it created a new deal with this sort of ID, I believe. Perfect. yeah, it creates a new company record with the details. So this is the company record detail. And then we can go into HubSpot and double check that. But this is a way how we can integrate and use other tools. And you can see this sheet is also sorted. And we can remove that sorting, add sorting. The chat generally operates a lot of the tooling. And hopefully that's a quick overview. Those are all the key ways we use Orange Slice. The last one to touch upon is triggers. So we can actually create workflows on, we want actions to happen. So let's say I have my Slack connected already, which is great. I want to say, I gave a perfect follow-up here. Create a daily cron job to automatically sync any new companies that hit the 1.5 extra to HubSpot. Let's do that. And send me a Slack message telling me you finished. And a short summary of the accounts. And so now this will build an actual workflow. So a daily cron job. And that is the last big feature of Orange Slice in the toolbox you can see here. So that is the last big figure of triggers. So it's creating a trigger here. And if we let that run, it will come back. You can see the to-dos. So it's creating a daily cron trigger for HubSpot Sync and send Slack DM summary to Vihar. So now it's going to do all of those things. So now give it a couple seconds or minutes to fulfill the request. And that's basically how you can do a lot of your GTM workflows a lot easier and a lot cheaper. So perfect. It says it's live here, daily HubSpot syncs. We have a new trigger. It runs daily at 9 a.m. and it has all the code for how it does it. So we can run it just for a quick test here, and the trigger started to run. Perfect. So you can see exactly what the workflow looks like, and this is great. And that was the last big feature. We went over integrations, API keys, skills, triggers, and actually creating enrichments on the sheet or adding a column. These both do the same thing. And how to create different sheets to the chat and how they can be interconnected. The last thing you also hear, we also have the workflow view. So you can see how data is connected in between sheets. So in the funded companies, you can kind of see this is how all this data, we have this input, all this data, how it's interconnected, how 12-month growth is figured out from LinkedIn Enrich. And so we can debug and look at the data in a visual aspect like this as well. We can see how it's adding rows to decision makers sheet to find decision makers. So all these people look great. That's basically the platform. We currently just sit in the data enrichment layer. We don't do any sort of sequencing or CRM capabilities. You'll have to connect to those certain tools to it, like Reach Instantly or Smart Lead. But this was a high-level overview of everything you can do to the platform. The best way is just trying it yourself and getting started and then experimenting. And then if you have any questions or any problems at all, personally shooting me a Slack. I'm always responsive, and we add data providers as needed. So if you want a data provider, please just shoot a Slack message into this Slack, and we will get that as soon as possible. As a startup, we work super quick on making your customers happy and making sure you guys have all the data providers you want. And so that's a quick rundown of everything on the sheet and how you can build sort of go-to-market workflows. And if you have any questions, just feel free to send me a Slack message. But thanks so much for watching and learning how to use the tool, and happy building.